We are welcome once again, my Anioma kinsmen, my well-wishers, including those who don't like me. Because I know that when everybody likes you, then your journey to the land of the other world beyond has started. So I don't talk so that everybody will like me. Those who are destined to like me will like me. Those who are destined not to like me will not like me, even when I am saying the truth. So today we're going to look at the issue of Major Patrick Chukwuma Kaduna Nzeogwu, the leader of January 15, 1966 coup of Anioma origin, precisely from Okpanam in Oshimili North local government area. They then born in Kaduna. A lot of stories concocted, some factual, some concocted, some out of bias, some out of ignorance, have been hovering around his personality, his role, and the attempt by many people to demonize him as a cause of the present Nigerian problems. And I want to state that the Nigerian problem, let me be specific, the Nigerian nationality problem preceded Major Chukwuma Kaduna Nzeogwu, and it has continued after him. I am yours sincerely, Dr. Nwankwo Tony Nwezi with the Ndogo of Ibuzo. And of course, the proud professional historian and pioneer director, Center for Igbo Studies, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. So today I am going to look at, let me put it the way I titled it, how Ndigbo Southeast betrayed Major Nzeogwu, bought Pogrom, the Pogrom, caused the civil war, and killed him. So they did all that and later killed. So what I'm stating is that the Nzeogwu was killed by Ndigbo of the Southeast, as directed by Colonel Chukwuemeka Odumegwu. And as I go on, if people regard this as a theory, I will prove it as a theory. If people regard it as a hypothesis, I will come out with the result to prove that it has exceeded to the point of a hypothesis that is now a theory, which is on its way to becoming a historical law. Now, let me put it that way: that I've decided, in fact, the analysis I'm presenting today is anchored on my already concluded book on Nigerian Civil War, which is about going to the press. And that book is entitled The Mistake of Biafra and the Struggles for Nigerian Nationality Question. So that is The Mistake of Biafra and the Struggles for Nigerian Nationality Problems. So I'm about concluding the book, and what I'm presenting today is adapted from that book manuscript. Let me make it known to those people who don't understand Anioma people. Those people who don't understand Anioma people. We are people with a proud history. We are proud of our history. We are proud of our multiculturalism. We are proud of our personalities. We are principled to some extent, even to a fault. And much of the social and cultural carriages our Igbo kinsmen across the Niger are carrying today were or do I say, we adapted from our own particular culture. Like the kinship system they have now, the kinships that Ezeo, Igbo, they were adapted from us, from our people. They were adapted from our people. We are talking of Ofala festival by kings and whatever, Onowu or whatever. These were adapted from our people. And we are talking of Onowu. Onowu is the official salutation of every ESA in our land. Oftentimes in some of the communities, especially the Ezechi Maclan, the ESA is normally the prime minister. And that is why they adapted it that way, that ESA now becomes a prime minister in the South, among the Southeast hybrid or artificial traditional, rulership system. So I want us to understand that Anyoma people have actually, the interaction with Benin and Igala and other people have actually benefited the Southeast culturally, socio-culturally, more than the Southeast people benefited Anyoma people. Let us even remember this, because when people talk about, oh, Benin, we were able, what is Benin? Let us even look at the oldest book written by an Igbo man. The interesting narrative of the life of Olaudah Equiano or Gustavus Vassa the African, published in 1789. That was the earliest historical account published by an Igbo person. In that book, Olaudah Equiano made us to understand that his own people were under the control of Benin Empire, even though the control was mild, was loose, was not direct. But the fact that Olaudah Equiano established that his people were under the control of Benin Empire clearly establishes the fact that, especially for those who still believe that Olaudah Equiano originated from the present Southeast zone, in that instance, those people should agree that the Benin influence did not only stop at the present Anyoma land, but also extended to the Southeast. So we have a reason to be thanked by our Southeast members for being the bearers of their modern Igbo cultural, let me not say customs, but cultural elements that actually reformed and changed the general outlook of the Igbo cultural identity today, or let me say ethnic identity, that actually gave a cultural form, a sociocultural form to the present Igbo ethnic identity. They emanated from us, the Anyoma people. Let me also let them to know that we are proud people, in the sense we are proud of our history. Before, in the 19th century, the River Niger we are seeing today, which have been the arteries of communication between the South and the North, by 19th century, it was the lower part of the Niger was under the control of two important kingdoms, Abo Kingdom and Igala Kingdom. And I'm proud to say that the Lander brothers, Richard and John Lander, who eventually discovered for Europeans and other world, not for us, the cost to the route, the mouth of the River Niger, were arrested by Benin Kingdom, by Abo Kingdom and Anyoma Kingdom, imprisoned and sold into slavery penultimate their freedom. That's Lander Brothers. And earlier visitors to the southeast through the Niger were directed by the powerful Abo Kingdom. We are also proud that of all the people in the whole federation, Anioma people resisted the British bumper to bumper. And in fact, for people who do not know, the Ekumeku movement was started by Igbuzo on the invitation of the Iseloku Kingdom. And that was in 1893. That was the day, the time Catholic Church came to Iseloku Kingdom. The reason was that Igbuzo has stopped from 1875, when the Anglican Church came to Asaba, to even to 1899, when the Catholic Church eventually came to Igbuzo. Igbuzo people have stopped the movement of missionaries, Anglicans, and later Catholics passing through them. They were forced to take through Okpanam, Iseloku to Idumujuboku, Buluku, so on and so forth. And in fact, the Anglicans were not even allowed to have a center at Iseloku, which was then the most powerful Anioma Kingdom in that upper part of our, of our ethnic group, let me say, sub-ethnic region. But in 1893, the Catholics decided to come to Iseloku to establish a mission. The Obi then, being a minor, the Obi of Iseloku then being a minor by 1893, was under the control of the Queen Mother, his mother, who, in order to protect the son from being harmed by his uncles and others, decided to grant permission to the Catholic Church as a way of protecting the young king. And that was when the Iseloku leaders revolted and invited Igbuzo to come and fight for them. That was the beginning of Ekumeku. Igbuzo forces now came and engaged the white men. After both of them withdrew, it was now Iseloku people, in order to maintain peace, now allowed them to establish the Catholic Church. And it was that 1893 episode that gave Iseloku the right for the position of being the headquarters of Iseloku Diocese today. Even though Asaba contested it, Asaba was not happy because they were actually the founding town of both Anglican and the Catholic Church. So that was the situation. So I want us to understand that. So I want us to understand that we have a legacy. Our multiculturalism and our interaction with the West, with the Bini, Yoruba, and other people, gave us a legacy of magnanimity, a legacy of selfless service to humanity, a legacy of principle. We are aware that in Delta State today, in Edo State today, we have a culture of free primary and free secondary education, even free healthcare education, free healthcare services to our community, which was what Chief Obafemi Awolowo bequeathed to our people. So throughout the First Republic, Second Republic, a number of people under Midwest, under Western region, under Midwest region, under Midwestern state, under Bende state, under the present state, have been enjoying free education at all levels. And at no point in time, from the First Republic to even present, did any Southeast leader introduce free education among themselves. So there are certain things, and we allow our kinsmen from the Southeast who bear Igbo names to come in and enjoy under the cover of being part of us. If it were in the Southeast, nobody will permit that. I stand to be challenged. Our compatriots, our Southeast kinsmen, over this fact. That the magnanimity they enjoy among our people, we can, neither of them can enjoy it among in the others in others states, nor our people enjoy it in any of the states in the Southeast. So when people come out and start talking about what they don't know about our history, some of us who wasted our time to study history and from an Anioma state, we get pissed off. And that was the same thing that happened when the January 1966, January 15, 1966 could happen. So we know our history. We are proud of our history. We can tell our history. It is not so with the Igbo of the Southeast, and I continue saying it as an expert in Igbo studies, as a pioneer director of Center for Igbo Studies, University of Nigeria, that one of the bans of Southeast political predicament, Southeast Igbo political predicament in Nigeria today is their lack of historical consciousness, which had denied them the foresight of defining through actually, perfectly, factually, what they know about this Nigeria of themselves. What other people think of this Nigeria in their own context. They've not been able to define who their true enemies are. They always think of what they gain at present without looking back. And when you don't look back to define your present needs, your future becomes void or blurred. In 1945, in Jos, there was a quarrel between the indigenous Biron people and the Hausa Fulani immigrants. The Hausa immigrants descended on Igbo people and slaughtered them. 1945, the first pogrom in Nigeria under British colonial government. In 1953, a motion for independence of Nigeria in 1957 was moved by Enaholo Action Group. And it was countered by the Northern leadership, or not counter, amended, which was equal to, being countered then. And when they were going, the Lagosians booed them. And then Akintola, the deputy leader of Action Group, now decided to carry his campaign to Kano, to Northern Nigeria, to impress on that early independence. It was Akintola, Yoruba man. At the end of the day, it was the Igbo members of the Igbo ethnic group that were slaughtered in Kano. Yet, today, no Igbo, no political leader in the Southeast geopolitical zone attains his political heights without subjecting himself to a state of political slavery before the same caliphate. We have not come to the issue of pogrom, because these things had happened before the January 1966 coup. These things have happened before the Nigerian Civil War. These things have happened before the September-October pogrom. So they had happened before Nzeogwu. So the problem of the Igbo man today, in Nigeria is his lack of understanding of his predicament through history and inability to define his true friends and true enemies, and to fashion a proactive, a functional, an effective, workable political ideology on which to anchor. That is their problem. They act like somebody who has a load of elephant on his head and is using his legs to dig cricket. Somebody whose house is in flames and goes about hunting rats. The other time, it was Emmanuel, one chief Emmanuel, shortly before he died, under the so-called fake Ohaneze peace committee, begging trying to plead with the Sokoto Caliphate for forgiveness for the death of Sadona of Sokoto. Clean of Satan. Did Anyoma people tell him to beg on behalf of their son? Did we beg him? If people like me did not come out to challenge him openly, it should have been a news today that Igbo had apologized to Sokoto Caliphate. Yet, who has apologized for the slaughter of thousands of Nigerians, Ndigbo, during the pogrom? May 29, 1966 pogrom, and September, October pogroms of the same 1966 by the same House of Fulani, who had even, which Igbo man had even summoned the boldness to demand for compensation or for ICC to investigate the pogrom? None. They see them going there to serve as political errand boys, thinking that we tell them an Igbo man cannot be president or the president federation. So that was the situation. That was the situation. Because if they understand their history and how to utilize it between the present and the future, the issue of blaming Nzeogwu for their predicament couldn't have arisen. But at any rate, let me put it down to them that Nzeogwu was betrayed in the said coup. The idea of Nzeogwu being their problem is a lie, and that's what I'm talking about. Nzeogwu was betrayed, and the consequences of that betrayal of Nzeogwu turned out to be the pogrom, turned out to be the civil war, and turned out to be the political demobilization of Ndigbo. Politically in the present Nigeria, it is a single fact of betrayal of Major Kaduna Nzeogwu. Not the fact of the coup. Yes, there was coup there. It was planned by 5 majors. All the 5 majors, if you are talking of all the 5 majors, only one was non-Igbo, Yoruba. Only one was non-Igbo, Yoruba. The rest were Igbo. The rest were Igbo. So when people even talk, it's not just about the coup itself. It's not, but the point that it's not about the makeup of the core planners of the coup, but the management of the coup itself that eventually turned it to be termed as an Igbo coup. That was it. Now, if you let us even look at those who planned the coup, the 5 majors. Because let not, as our people, often say, do not do to others what you will not want others to do unto you. First, before that 1966 coup, there was evident that it was evident that by 1964, December 1964, Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu first started planning for coup with lieutenant colonels. General Gowon was involved. Ejo was involved in that coup, 1964 coup by lieutenant colonels, which was later overtaken by the 1966 coup by Nzeogwu. So one can see from the point Ojukwu's jealousy and hatred of Kaduna and Nzeogwu began. It was like, what we failed to do, why do you think you are the right person to do it and succeed? Yes. Just as Ruth First, the popular journalist who extensively covered the crisis, the 1966-67 crisis in Nigeria, Ruth First, just as he said, concerning Ojukwu, she said, let me quote her, just a little quotation which anybody can get offered. She said, she said, the 1964 plot was initiated by Colonel Ojukwu. The 1966 one, he helped to crush. That was Ruth First's description of the situation. So if you look at those, okay, let us even take their name. Number one, Major PCK Nzeogwu, Patrick Chukwuma Kaduna Nzeogwu. You have Major Major Ademoyega, a Yoruba man, the only Yoruba there. You have Major Ifajuna, Emmanuel Ifajuna. You have Major C. Anoforo. You have Major I.H. Chukwuka. You have Major Dioka. 5 of them, only one is Yoruba. So even generally, even without the outcome of it, it's enough for people to assume that it was an Igbo coup. Yes. They were not looking at that. And I'll come to say why that was not enough to make it an Igbo coup. Even though these men still co-opted some Igbo people there. For example, Captain Oji was co-opted, Captain Ben Bullion was co-opted, and Captain Onwategu was also co-opted into the core operational unit of the coup. But they were later entrants in the main force. That was the basic truth is that it was initiated. The plan was that they planned with Nzeogwu. Nzeogwu planned with these people. Planned with these people. This is our position, and this is what we are going to do. We are going to arrest and shoot all the four premiers. We are going to arrest and shoot the Minister of Finance, Okotebu, K.O. Mbadiwe, Ajanwachukwu, what's that? Shagari, and the other one, is it Murtala Muhammad's uncle? What is Wadana? Is it Wada? Yes, not Wadanas. Yes, that's Murtala Muhammad's uncle. Alhaji Wada, that they should be shot, including Agu Ironsi, all the senior army officers, Agu Ironsi, and other senior, senior military officers that were eventually killed, like Ademulegun, like Shodende, like my Malarin, like Shodende, like Kuru Muhammad, like James Pam, like Abogo, Largema, like Atosi Unegbe. Atosi Unegbe, his inclusion was that he could not be trusted because he was a very close friend to Brigadier Zachary Malari. That was why I thought Unegbu. Ato Nzeogwu eventually became, one of the victims. Not the idea that he was a quartermaster, he was in charge of. No, the quartermaster general was not even the person who holds the armory, because every unit have those. Every from brigade to company, from brigade to company to company to battalion. In fact, in the battalion, they have direct access to their own armory. There's somebody in charge of it. So not the quartermaster general at the headquarters that will hold the key for the whole armories. You have all armories for all the battalions in the whole country. So it was not the truth. The truth was that Atu Ndigbo was very close to Zakari Malari, and he could not accept their own situation, and they had to finish him. The question I ask some people is, imagine if all the two Igbo ministers, premiers, Osadebe and Okpara, were killed, and Aguiyi killed. Somebody were killed. Would there have been any counter coup? Would there have been any need for pogrom? Would there have been any need to define the coup as an Igbo coup? And why were these people not killed? What were the excuses in military operation? What excuses? They discussed with Nzeogwu. These are Major Nzeogwu. These are the things we should do. They left the original plan with Kaduna Nzeogwu. They went back to Lagos, where Major Ifajina was deputy to Malari. They now redesigned, sat as Igbo people, and redesigned the original plan without the knowledge of Nzeogwu. And part of the plan was, why should we? Because the plan was that we will take over and release Chief Obafemi Awolowo from prison and making the interim prime minister. The same people went back. They leaked the plan to the Igbo brothers. First on Nnamdi Azikiwe. For that reason, Nnamdi Azikiwe had to take an unending sick leave that did not end until the fall of the First Republic. Unending sick leave. President of Nigeria taking unending sick leave because I have been informed. Okpara was informed, and on that day he decided to invite the president of Cyprus, Archbishop Makarios III, to be in his government house, so that it will be a cover for him to his bed. Oserebe was told to forget it. There's no army because there was no army presence in Midwest region. But there in Enugu, you have a battalion in the seat of the present 82 Division. Aguiyi was also told. And that was why Aguiyi could on that day of the coup, he was just walking, acting as a hero, as a strong man, and so I'm here moving around. He was informed. And the plan was finally had that why should we give the position to Yoruba man, to somebody who is opposed to us, Obafemi Awolowo? Instead, let us do it in such a way that we make Aguiyi an Igbo man to become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And that was what was done. Nzeogwu was not informed. So Nzeogwu was betrayed, was not informed. And Nzeogwu it's not about the killing of Sardauna of Sokoto, because the killing of Sardauna of Sokoto, his exit received national acclamation, even among the Northerners. Even the Sultan of Sokoto, a sign of relief. Sultan Abubakar, because that his position. He had been in contest with, he contested that position with Sardauna of Sokoto and defeated him. And since then, as premier, Sardauna of Sokoto have been harassing him. Alhaji Gumi, the father of the now, Alhaji Abubakar Gumi, the father of the now major sponsor and ambassador to bandits and Boko Haram in Nigeria. His father also celebrated the exit of Sardauna of Sokoto, because the Reverend Father visited him at that time to know his opinion. The Reverend Father discovered that the large portrait of Sardauna of Sokoto that was there had been pulled down. And he was asked why, and he said, "Oh, it fell off." Kano, the main Kano, Talakawa, KP, Kano People's Party, Northern Element Progressive Party, Borno Youth Movement, all those, even the present Emir Sanusi family, they jubilated the exit of Sardauna of Sokoto because he exiled his grandfather, Emir Sanusi. Sardauna exiled about 9 emirs from Ohino of Ibira to Bauchi to other places. He exiled them, removed them, dethroned and exiled them. So there was a lot of celebration in the north for the exit of Sardauna of Sokoto. And that was why Nzeogwu remained a hero among them. And that was why Nzeogwu was able to hold northern Nigeria for 4 days, only to relinquish power through negotiation with Aguiyi, because he threatened to march to Lagos. And that was why it took only his kinsman, Colonel Conrad Nwawo, to come and plead with him and bring him back to Lagos. So Kaduna Nzeogwu was betrayed. There was no reason. If Azikiwe was not informed, why did he go on leave? On sick leave, on ending sick leave. So why was Osedebe not key? Why was, even in true revolution, the army should go there, pull Okpara out and shoot him, and then tell the bishop to go back to his country. And we're just giving us free excuses that now costs generations upon generations upon generations upon generations a political predicament they've not been able to extricate themselves from because of that self-centeredness, ethnic bigotry. And then people are telling us Nzeogwu caused it, Nzeogwu caused it. Why? Why can you say Nzeogwu caused it? You can't get, okay, let us even look at it. We are not talking about, let's even look at the Sir Tafawa Ahmadu Bello. Apart from Ahmadu Bello, Sir Ahmadu Bello, who was killed, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Bello was killed from Bauchi. Chief Festus Okotebo from my present data state. Chief Samuel Akintola, Brigadier Sakala Maimalari, Brigadier Samuel Ademulegun, Colonel Aru Shodende, Colonel Kuru Mohammed, Lieutenant Colonel James Pan, Lieutenant Colonel Abugo Larigema. If you look at these people, you find that people only talking about Sardauna of Sokoto, Sardauna of Sokoto. If all these people are revoked, had risen against, because apart from Sardauna of Sokoto, the rest people, then R.A. Shodende and Ademulegun, who were killed in Kaduna. Apart from them, the rest were killed in the south. My Mallory shot directly by his own, somebody stopped his car to inform him about the danger. If Arjuna came and shot him directly. And they're talking about Nzeogwu. Was it Nzeogwu that killed Tafawa Balewa? Was it Nzeogwu that killed Okotebo? Was it Nzeogwu that killed Akintola? Was it Nzeogwu that killed Kuru Mohammed, Abugo Larigema, and yes, and Pan? So why should people be talking about Nzeogwu? Nzeogwu caused them the problem when they caused it themselves because of the ethnic bigotry. And it was that ethnic bigotry. When Aguiyi eventually came, it was that ethnic bigotry that created the enablement of the pogrom, because of the fear that Awolowo's influence could threaten his position. He refused to release Awolowo. He refused to release the 35 TV protesters who were imprisoned by Sardauna of Sokoto. Tell me, if Aguiyi had released Obafemi Awolowo, do you think Obafemi Awolowo should have joined in the civil war against Igbo? Even when it took him the last minute to be fully engaged in that war, and that was after the Biafran invasion of Ore. That was when Obafemi Awolowo decided to put everything he had into the civil war, because we now saw that the Igbo under Ojukwu were not just defending themselves against the Pogrom, but they were out to conquer Yoruba land and dominate other people. And that, I think that will form the second part when we come to that over the southeast, over the Midwest region and the Asaba massacre. How the Asaba massacre and the killing of our people was again caused by our Ndigbo, the Biafran forces, and not those who actually, who actually consummated the act, but those who laid the condition. Because in history, we talk about, when you're talking of an episode, you talk about the remote and immediate causes. With that, you also talk about the immediate consequences and the long-term consequences. Without the remote causes, the immediate causes shouldn't have arisen. Without the remote causes, the immediate causes shouldn't have arisen. So we cannot think of those who perpetrated a crime, if a young man, if a small girl, when a small boy took his gun and shoot people, the issue who caused it? It's not that is the immediate one, but who bought the gun? Who kept the gun who made the gun accessible to him? These are the things we have to look at, not people coming to tell us cock and bull at. Nzeogwu was betrayed. And it was that fact, it was that jealousy that made Ojukwu to stay back in the north. Nzeogwu ruled the north. Only Ojukwu and Igboma went against him from Kano. Because the issue was, if my own plan in 1964 failed, where should that of Nzeogwu succeed? And he was rewarded as the military governor of eastern provinces, eastern Nigeria, over and above those who were senior to him. Because if Ojukwu was telling people in Aburi that why he did not support, or before Aburi, why he did not support Gowon taking over the military leadership, was that Gowon was not the most senior. Was he the most senior Igbo officer? Before he was Njoko. Colonel Njoko was his senior. And in fact, the first commander of Biafran forces, he removed him. He nearly wanted to kill him. He even accused him of being a coup plotter with Banjo and other people. But he knew that action should have backfired extensively for him, just as in the case of Nzeogwu. He just removed him and put him under house arrest until the end of the war. He put him there. Nobody's talking about this. Ojukwu, because the Igbo man lacks the courage to engage in self-criticism. Call a spade a spade. Was Njoku not a senior? But because of his sabotage mentality and maybe through his father's influence in NCNC that helped Aguiyi to be promoted, to be made supreme commander of Nigerian armed forces. He was made the military governor. Was he the most senior? Igbo Colonel? The others who were senior to him, who were commissioned before him. So we cannot be talking about Nzeogwu. Yes, they betrayed Nzeogwu, and the consequences was the pogrom. And if it was about Nzeogwu alone, If I just about the coup alone, there shouldn't have been any problem. Yes, he was asked to put them on trial, but he felt that people like Ifajuna and so on and so forth, who actually planned his his assumption of that position, made it known to him that he cannot try them because we planned to put in that position, and so we did not know. And that was why when Ifajuna fled to Ghana, he was asked to come back. He came back, and they just put him in house arrest like other people. Why shouldn't the Northerners be annoyed with that? Why not even put them before trial? Put them to trial, and then use your influence to send them to prison or then trial. Why not attempt? Why allow them? Because you were privy to that plan. Because if you even look at the special report, federal government special report, special branch report of the 1966 January 15 coup, he found that when Agui Ironsi came to Ikeja cantonment, when he learned that people have been killed, Prime Minister, what he said, he uttered, but these people said, but they said they were not going to kill anybody. Somebody had it. Before he now moved into his shell, before he now realized what he said. He said, also, he knew about the coup. They planned it together. And people are telling Nzeogwu was popular, and he remained popular over and above. And let us even, say, Nzeogwu made it known to them that they sabotaged him. They sabotaged him. He made it known to them. So it's not a question of it's not a question of coming out to say Nzeogwu did not cause any problem. They caused the problem for themselves. They caused the problem for themselves. We remember in 1967. In 1967, what happened? Ejindo, Dennis Ejindo, interviewed Nzeogwu in Biafra. Interviewed Nzeogwu in Biafra. And Nzeogwu made it known to him that he did not support secession. That at most what he needed was at least a confederation. He said it clear. So Ojukwu will not allow somebody, and all the people executed by Ojukwu, Banjo and other people, they did not support secession. All those majors, all those Alele, Banjo, and all those people he killed, they did not. They were those who did not support secession. And because killing Nzeogwu, including Nzeogwu in the coup plan, or killing him will cause a lot of problems, he decided to set him up and kill him. And people will be asking me, how did I know that he killed him? Yes. At the time Nzeogwu died, Nzeogwu was not under the command of any military unit. You are talking of a major. You are talking of a major. Nzeogwu, first of all, Colonel Odumegwu Ojukwu refused to release Nzeogwu from prison, from Enugu prison, after the declaration of Biafra. He took the University of Nigeria students, University of Nigeria Soccer students, and the trade union in the Republic of Biafra to carry out public demonstration before Ojukwu was forced to release Nzeogwu from Enugu prison. Even when he was released, Ojukwu did not give him any command. Ojukwu sent him to act as instructor, to recruit, instructor to army recruits in Abakaliki. And when Ojukwu discovered that Nzeogwu's popularity was so much that it could threaten his own position, he removed him there and just put him in virtual house arrest. If people, I think people should go and look at Nzeogwu's letter to President Olusegun Obasanjo in that 1967. He made it known that he was not giving anything. He was just left there to be floating, virtually in house arrest. It was in that house arrest. And let me make it known. It was from that house arrest that Ojukwu now planned that he should be killed on the way and gave him a Land Rover and and added his half brother, the young man born by his mother through a white man, gave him with his ugly and tell him to go and do Reiki. How can you send a major on a Reiki? How can you send a major on a Reiki? And then posted some Biafran troops, soldiers, lay ambush, they laid ambush for him at Upinsuka. And they came there and killed Nzeogwu. His orderly was spared because one of those strike men, one of those Ojukwu strike men was from Nsukka. The orderly was from Nsukka, Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Oti. He was Nsukka first elected local government chairman of Nsukka local government area when I was an undergraduate. Reverend Emmanuel Oti, Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Oti from Nsukka town, former chairman of Nsukka local government, was Nzeogwu's orderly. He was spared and was given a vow, never in life, to tell them the truth. If he asks Oti again, what happened? He will tell you without saying anything. Nzeogwu's orderly from Nsukka, Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Oti, knew that it was Ojukwu that killed Nzeogwu and that he was spared by the grace of his brother, who was among the strike men of Ojukwu strike men who led the ambush. And they left his body for the advancing troops, federal troops, to deceive the multitude, to deceive the people that it was in fact the federal government troops that killed Nzeogwu, which was not the truth. And those that came, and so when the federal troops came and they saw him, it was like hell was let loose, because they never expected Nzeogwu to die. These were the people Nzeogwu fought for. These were the people who regard Nzeogwu as their own leader. They regarded Nzeogwu as their own leader. The federal troops wept like Jesus Christ wept in Gethsemane. They wept on hearing that Nzeogwu was dead. And when Gowon heard about it, Gowon wept and ordered that his body should be brought to Kaduna Cemetery and given an official hero's burial. Today in Kaduna Military Cemetery, Nzeogwu's grave is there. And that was the same person some people are telling us was the cause of the present situation, present problem in Nigeria. Nzeogwu was detribalized. He was not an ethnic bigotry. He was nationalistic, sincere, principled. And if you listen to comments from other people, from other senior officers, like late Minister of Defense, Lieutenant General Duncan Bali. General Duncan Bali said, if you had captured Nzeogwu, we shouldn't have killed him. At most, we should have tried him and put him in sentence into prison. That was what he said. If you're not talking about Abakari, who was the military governor of a northwestern state, Abakari, I'm talking from American intelligence report this way. Abakari said that Ojukwu killed that man and wasted that man, that good man, and dumped him on the way to assume that we killed. We did not kill him. We met him. Because we did not confront any single person on that way. There was no battlefield. How can you send a major on a Ricky? which is oddly, and your half brother you want to sacrifice in order to prove your point. So if for those who know Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Oti of Nsukka, I know he might have told them the story. And you look at it. You look at this point. If you look at to show you that Nzeogwu was not an ethnic bigot, but a nationalist. If you look at those who led him in the exercise Damisa operation on that night, if you look at it, you find that, okay, for Nzeogwu, let me take it that way. For Nzeogwu, there were 33 in number that went on that operation Damisa that night. 33 in number. Out of that 33, 8 were Igbo. 1 Efik Ibibio, 2 Ijo, 1 Yoruba, and 21 Northerners. Out of 33, 21 members of that operation, exercise Damisa, were Northerners that Nzeogwu led to the house of Sardauna of Sokoto. In spite of that, Nzeogwu ruled Kaduna, ruled Northern region, stayed in Kaduna for 4 days, managing the affairs. And even the man that took over from him, Major Usman Katsina, praised Nzeogwu. Praised Nzeogwu. We are talking about the son of the Emir of Katsina. He praised Nzeogwu. So people cannot tell us cock and book story. Okay, let us cock and book story about something that does not exist. Out of naked ethnic bigotry, trying to demonize somebody who has proven himself to be the most nationalistic army officer Nigeria had ever produced. Let us even look at Ifajuna group, the group that operated in the south, and the reason why they did not carry the operation as planned with Kaduna and Nzeogwu. Out of them, there were 24 in general. Emmanuel Ifajuna led 23 other officers for the operation in the south, making him the 24th person. Out of these 24 persons, 22 were Igbo, 1 Efik Ibibio and 1 Yoruba. Tell me how you expect these people to go and kill is it Okpara, Osadebe, Aguironsi, and other? These were the people they put there so that they can protect their Southeast Igbo interests, their Igbo interests. And that was, you can see the difference here when they are comparing. So between Nzeogwu and Ifajuna, who actually caused the problem for Nigeria today? Ignorance also caused, as I've stated. Because if he has released Obafemi Awolowo should have been on his side. If he has released the 35 thief protesters detained and imprisoned by Sardauna of Sokoto, there shouldn't have been any counter coup. It should have been settled amicably. Because the core members, statistically, if you look at the statistics of ethnic composition of Nigerian forces at that time, thief people from thief land alone constitute about 40% of the fighting force, of the gunners, of the non-commissioned officers. Thief. And even when Joseph Tucker went 5 times to plead with Aguiyi to release them. Aguiyi refused and even threatened to imprison him. We are talking of a situation where the first act, any change of government, the leaders of any new government, especially in Kogi, their first act is to release all opposition members imprisoned by the previous government in order to show up support for themselves. I'm going to say the other way. People are talking about Igbo domination through the coup. Igbo inspired coup. By the number, he went ahead to dissolve the regional, set up a Nwoked committee to set up on regional, and then you dissolve the regional government, making it unitary. A civil service that the Igbo were already being accused of dominating them. You now made the civil service, you now unified it, so that an Igbo man can now go to North and take position of the Northerners. And you think people will be happy about it? Put your leg in their shoes. And when your close allies, the governor of our northern provinces, Usman Kassina, and their very friend Fajiri Adekunle Fajiri, Francis Adekunle Fajiri, advise you against this. He said that this is military regime, that they should do it. Because if Aguiyi had attended a formal officers training and not rising from the rank and then promoted through crash program, you should have known the essence of command, which must go in line with the conscience agreement with those you are being commanded. He did not believe in consultation. He left. In their last cabinet meeting, when he declared that regionalism on May 25, Lieutenant Colonel Usman Kassan told him, okay, if you are going to do it, okay, maybe by Monday or so, you hear from us. On May 29, there was anti-Igbo riot. And that was when my father brought us back home through Jos. And my father now remained in Bauchi until the main pogrom, when many people were killed, and he narrowly escaped by whiskers to be home. Fajuyi, who advised him, finally lost his life. In spite of that, the Igbo people were also found to be mocking the Sana of Sokoto. There was one music that was released, Sadana was crying like goat. There was also the drum publication, the popular drum magazine then. They drew a caricature of Satana with Nzeogwu marching on his body with gun held in hand. It was all these things were provocative, and these things happened under the watch of Aguiyi. They were provocative. In spite of that, Aguiyi was aligning with the Sokoto Caliphate against even the Middle Belters who helped the revolution. So it was not a question of people planning coup against Aguiyi, yes, or whatever. It's not a question of people planning the coup against it. It wasn't a question of carrying out program. Nobody will support program because those who were killed were innocent of the crime of the leaders. Those who were killed were innocent. But that was a mistake of the leaders. And up to today, the leaders are still making the same mistake. Those who are being killed today by Fulani herdsmen, those who are being kidnapped by Fulani herdsmen, those who are being slaughtered by bandits, were the ordinary people, poor people. A lot of people impoverished through gathering of of ransom, and those who could not get it got their people slaughtered and given, and sold in human parts markets. We're having it today. And those people who are leading us do not care about what is happening in Nigeria today. They are interested in their narrow, selfish political interests. So Nzeogwu came to solve the Nigerian problem. So Nzeogwu's experience in Biafra is enough to tell Anioma people that our Southeast brothers do not respect our people, even when we attempt to sacrifice all we have in alliance with them. Nzeogwu did not cause the coup, did not cause Nigeria's problem. Nigeria's problem was caused by his betrayal, by his coup, Ndigbo Southeast plotters. It was supported by the mismanaged naivety of Agui Ironsi and the jealous mentality of Ojukwu against him that led to his death. And let no people think that these are things we can just close over. History is there. There are people who are trained as historians. And in historical analysis, you don't write to please anybody. The only response we need is for people to counter us factually. Because, as Nzeogwu rightly stated, the coup was partly an Igbo coup and partly a national coup. For him, the coup he led was not an Igbo coup. It was not an ethnic coup, as you can see from the statistics of those who participated with him. But in the South, it was an Igbo coup led by Ifajuna, as you can see from the statistics of those the statistics of the actors in the South. You are talking of 24 actors in the South, 22 of them Igbo, and only 2 non-Igbo. You are talking of 33 actors in the North, 8 Igbo, 8 Igbo in the North, then 21 Northerners, 2 Ijo, 1 Efik Ibibio. Yes, 1 Efik Ibibio. So you can see that before Nzeogwu, it was national. So for those in the South, it was ethnic, it was an Igbo coup. So those who said that it was an Igbo coup, January 15, 1966 was an Igbo coup, they are right in one part when they consider the character and the cause of the Southern episode of that event. And for those who still stand that it was not an Igbo coup, if you look at the Northern episode, it was not an Igbo coup, it was a national coup. And Nzeogwu made it known to Dennis, Ejindo in May 1967 in Enugu during his house arrest when he was visited by Ejindo. Let me just read his response to Ejindo's question on this issue of whether the January 15, 1966 coup was an Igbo coup or a national coup. Unquote. In the North, no. In the South, yes. We were 5 in number, and initially we knew quite clearly what we wanted to do. We had a short list of people who were either undesirable for the future progress of the country, or who by their positions at the time had to be sacrificed for peace and stability. But we had a setback in the execution. Both of us in the North did our best. but the other three who were stationed in the south failed because of incompetence and misguided considerations in the 11th hour. The most senior among them was in charge of a whole brigade and had all the excuse and opportunity in the war to mobilize his troops anywhere, anyhow, and anytime. He did it badly. In Lagos, even allowing for one or two genuine mistakes, the job was badly done. The Midwest was never a big problem, but in the East, our major target, nothing practically was done. He and others let us down. Nzeogwu, unquote. Ladies and gentlemen, with these words of Nzeogwu, let us rethink the false narrative that Nzeogwu was the problem of the current political predicament in Nigeria, or that Nzeogwu was the cause of the present Igbo political predicament in Nigeria. By the time we come next, we're going to look at how these same ethnic considerations by our Southeast Igbo neighbors cost untold loss of life among Anima people today, leading to the Asaba massacre. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and God bless you. So move to the next stage.